Hey, this is a video for one person, two if you include me also. I made this cosmic dress, mini dress in high school in 2009 when I was 17, and I'm here because I think that because I promised I would make a dream video again like the other one. And this time I'm gonna go back to 2009 to a dream I had in high school. And I'm gonna try my hardest and my darndest to recount it. And if I do find that file, actually, that I have written a bunch of dreams from that time period, if I find it and if I find others, oh, I'll be cranking out the camera with this outfit again. There's another video of me with a red shirt on, and it was last year in May that I was trying to capture this dream and another dream and another dream. And someone came home, so I wasn't alone in the house, so I had to turn the fan on, and it made the audio terrible. You could barely hear anything I was saying. And I was also very identity confused in that one. When am I not? And I have to tell you, preface, today I feel tormented by entities and bad entities, like demonic, narcissistic entities from people. And so that I don't I don't feel like my naughty, like wild self. I feel like very like hyper vigilant. I'm sorry for that. This dream is about freedom, and I don't feel like that. I feel oppressed, and so it's crazy that I'm doing this video now. But I had to get this out. This was very important for me to do. Context on the dress that I'm wearing. I made it in 2009 in high school, around the time that I was waking up to the idea of the apocalypse. If I do find more of these, I'm gonna totally post them. Like I have this document that I wrote everything in. So like I wrote dreams, diary entries and stuff. I need to find it. Once I do, if it has this dream in it, I'll redo this with that document. I was 17. I was malnourished, so I was constantly sleeping after school to make up for the nutrients I wasn't getting. There were bad people in my house that were nobody really cared that they were there, but they were there and they weren't my friends. But I came home, threw my backpack in my room and I would just sleep, just wishing to not be here really, and just not like in that way, but like in the way that like I just, didn't see why I was alive, really. There's no point in going to school, coming back to this, going to school, come back. It was just hell. It felt really like purgatory or hell. Being bullied by the people that were in my house that were coming in and out. And I was kind of just like very school focused. Like the idea was to, leave here, break out of this family, and go to college and be somebody and really form my identity for myself instead of what other people placed on me. I was in an unhappy relationship at the time that was very toxic and very controlling, with a female. I was terrified of being in a relationship with men because I had grown up in an all-girls school. Not at that point in time, though. I was at a public school, and I switched schools because, yeah, that's a whole other story. But I was terrified of guys, even though I had an attraction to guys. I wouldn't let myself like males at all because I was told that if you are with a guy at a young age, you could get pregnant. And so that was my biggest fear, because I wanted to live my life. I didn't want to be stuck at home perpetuating the same cycles I was seeing play out. After my mom passed away, I just wanted to be free. And that's the very thing that never happened. So it was a nightmare. And so I was in grade. This is important. The background context is very important to this. And yeah, I was told just to talk through this, just to be calm and to remember who I'm talking to, because this is just for one person, two if you include me. But this is for you, okay? And Yeah, my bed was here where my desk is, and I had this red comforter duvet cover thing, and I just fell asleep after school. I was wearing earplugs because of the noise in the next room and like the like really horrible mainstream music that was playing, and the smell of marijuana wafting through the underneath the doors, and it was just horrible. I don't know, it was like one of those moments where you throw your hands up and surrender, and you're just like, I just want to rest, I just want my soul to rest, kind of thing. There's nothing I could have done at that age. I was way too young, and also just no support system. I was all on my own, except for my relationship that wasn't going well, and that was long distance, and just feeling so alone and neglected and scared and unsafe. I didn't feel safe in my own home. Yeah, I don't remember if I made this the summer before, or because this was like the spring, when was this? This was it must have been now, because I wouldn't be doing this now if it wasn't now, right? Unless it was May. But I think it was like now, and so yeah, I fell asleep. And did I say enough context on that? Okay, before I had this dream, generally I was very aware of the Mayan calendar and the apocalypse and the idea of some kind of zombie apocalypse happening. The idea that there's an ending to it, there's more than what we know, kind of thing. And I looked up on some forums at the time about all of this, and then I shied away from it because it freaked me out. And I asked my dad, I went to him and I was like, is the world gonna end? Like, what about the Mayan calendar? Like, and he's like, it can't be possible. Like, that can't be possible. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna research it myself. I researched it myself, and in the coming weeks or so, I was kind of aware of there being more out there than what we know, and it was so overwhelming that I didn't really look at it again. So that's that. I just was very much called in 2009, funny enough, to start my journey, my real journey, because prior to 2009 and 2008, I rewatched The Celestine Prophecy, which me and my mom watched in 2006 or 5, and watched, yeah, so The Celestine Prophecy, and I held on to spirituality with all my being because my mom got me into it before she passed, and she was so into Atlantis and everything. She was like hot on the trail, and when I was 9 or 10, and I was hearing all about that and teaching me about energy and teaching me about Reiki. But yeah, so this dress that I made just from my imagination and going into Fabricland and seeing this fabric, and I'm like, I need that, and I need the gold, even though I don't know if gold goes with me. I need gold, so it was just very like impulsive, spur of the moment, inspiring. And I fell asleep in my bed, and it happened. I had this incredible dream that I'll never ever forget. And this is one I'm okay sharing, although there are 2 or 3 that I will only ever tell you in person, never on the internet, because I don't need to. That's it. And okay, so I was floating in this space, and it was vast, and it was distant and cold, and all I could remember was hearing a whooshing sound, just whooshing, like whoosh, shh, 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 shh. I felt like I was underwater or swimming, and I could breathe. It was whooshing, vast, spacious, and I knew where I was very unique. Like, it wasn't like multiple people came there. It was like very secret and sacred, and if you will, it was kind of like the heavens in a way, or beyond And I remember when I woke up from the dream too, like I just couldn't believe that I was there, and I didn't really have a love for space or anything or the universe, or like I wasn't really into that. So it seemed so cliche and like so like, oh, I've been there before, it doesn't matter. So like to me, I did write it down and I really did think it was quite important, but I thought also, what's the point of caring about something like this? Like it's too typical. When it really, when I think about it, it isn't, and it's actually something so precious to have experienced. It was my first out of body experience that I've ever had. To my conscious brain's remembrance and knowledge, it was my first out of body, my first OBE. It wasn't just an astral projection or a lucid dream or whatever. This was like out of body. And don't know how I left, don't know how I got there. Again, I was 17, yeah, I must have, yeah, I just turned 17. Yeah, so the whooshing, the cold, it was cold, it was like I could feel the really strong part of this is I could feel myself in the environment in the dream, which I'd never been able to do ever since I had that. I'd never been able to really feel. The lucidity was so real, and to have all the sensations, the sound, the touch. I just needed this one dream for my whole life to remember. And all of a sudden I started slipping down like I'm sinking in water, right? And I'm going down, and I'm terrified, and like this feeling of terror comes over me that I'm sinking, and all I see is blackness and stars like far out into the distance, and I'm sinking, and I'm just terrified because at that moment I knew that I was totally alone. I didn't have my family, I didn't have Toronto, I didn't have school, I didn't have anything. Like it was all just me, ripped and stripped to my soul. And I was there with my consciousness, that's it. And probably my body too in a way, but like I didn't feel my body. Like I didn't feel my body, but I felt the experience and I felt the atmosphere. Slipping down into the darkness, I turn around and there's this huge planet, and I like to think now that it must have been Saturn or Jupiter. And I wonder if I detailed in that account whether it was any of those planets. I don't know if if I said it was Mercury, I don't know if it was Mars, I don't know if it was the moon, Venus, observing the planet, because there were different ones. There was a blue and a green and a red, I think. There were different kind of like a tonality to it. It had that. But I'm talking huge. Like the planet was huge. Each body of star or planet was huge. But I must have been huge because in comparison, I was quite large as well. Like I must have been as big as half of a continent in relation to it. I wish I could draw it so like we could have a aspect ratio to like what it really was. I keep slipping down the side of the planet and I'm freaking out, and like you feel that feeling where you're like dropping like on like a roller coaster or something, and then bobbing back up and going down, and then bobbing and floating back up, and just observing these planets and like feeling them. And I don't know why or what I was doing there. And all I knew, it was so beautiful and terrifying, and there's this feeling of overwhelming love and peace that came from being there amongst all the planets. It was like, I just feel like there's nowhere else on Earth in the entire universe that felt like that. And I'm there, and it's okay. It's okay that the experience I'm having on Earth is like it is. It's okay that I'm like, what I'm feeling and experiencing, because this is happening, and this is also simultaneously where I am, and I'm okay because I'm here. And this is what matters. It felt like I was in a movie. It really did. Like, I know that people say like, oh, dreams are like movies, but it really, really, really felt like I was in a movie, immersed in it. At one point, I went down so far that I could look up and I saw the underbelly of this brown planet. Like, it was like a brown swirly planet, and I saw the underbelly. And I feel like there was one with rings, and I got to see the rings, and I was enchanted. Every time you'd go close to them or you'd see them, you'd get chills all over. Like, it was just like you like electrified being so close. I'm getting chills right now. It was like an electric whoo, like exhilaration from the planet. I went down so far that I looked up and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna go down some tunnel or black hole, or like, where do my feet end? Like, you know, when it's like a bottomless pit kind of feeling. It's like, oh no, like, how far is this? How far are we going down? How far are we deep diving? Like, are my feet gonna touch any ground? No. But I was going down so far, I felt someone's arms. This was the most incredible part of the dream, and incredibly romantic and incredibly sexy. Grab my arms and like catch me. It and I and turn me around or hover around, and I'm going up, and I'm like, okay, that feels good. Someone caught me. You know, I'm going up in the middle of all of these planets around us, and they're huge and they're scary. They're terrifying because the energy that they have is so vast and so powerful that it's scary. And anyway, I'm going up, like, faced away. I turn around and I see this man. And he's in a spacesuit. It looks like it's like a spacesuit guy, and I wonder if I'm in a spacesuit at that point. I don't really know, but and he has his arms on my shoulders like this, like we're both grabbing each other's arms. I'm getting chills talking about it right now. And we grab each other's arms, and I'm looking in his, well, not in his eyes because I couldn't see his face. Like, I don't know what his face looked like, but I pulled out and remote viewed us together, like, from this angle, and I was watching us in between, and I want to say his spacesuit was red, but I don't know. At this point, I'm feeling like I may be making that up, so I don't want to say that. But was it red? Was it white? Was it gray? I knew him. Like, I don't know who he was, what he looked like, but I know what he felt like. And I definitely felt like he was more mature than me, and it scared me. Because it's like, I'm not used to that, and I'm definitely not even used to flirting with a guy at school. You know, like, I don't know what it feels like to, like, for an older guy. I think he felt older. He wasn't old. He was just older. And he grabbed me, and he brought me close and kissed me. And we were in this loving embrace, and when he kissed me, it felt like light lit up from us in the embrace, but in a closed circuit around us. And I want to say the light was red. I want to say it was like a red glowing light that went through. And I was so in love with him. And, like, it felt like otherworldly, ethereal love that I had never felt before on Earth. And I woke up from that dream, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't like girls anymore. You know, like, I was like, whoa, that felt so good. And I woke up, like, with tears in my eye, like, coming out of my eyes, because it was so beautiful. And my earplug was, like, falling out, and I heard, like, music thumping. And, like, as I was waking up, this is the weird thing, because this is the part that, like, my consciousness remembers this like it was yesterday, everything, like laying on the bed and feeling and hearing the whooshing going away as I was pulling back into this consciousness. The consciousness I was in before was the ears were very stimulated, like it felt like there was constant matter and plasma or whatever, like around, like it was like busy. The atmosphere was constantly moving and responding to one another. It was just responses, and so when I was there, it was almost deafening how loud everything was, and the whooshing of wind or something. Like there can't be wind and there can't be gravity. So like that, there was things I was questioning because I knew from science class. I'm like, wait a minute, like if I was really there with the stars and the planets, what about this, you know? So I woke up and the whooshing stopped, and it got less and less and less. I pulled into this dimension, and I felt a presence in the room, but I wasn't really sure. And I just was happy because I knew that whatever that was, I was meant to experience it. And I think after that point, I was quite in love with whoever that was, whoever caught me. Feeling his arms catch me was, I just can't describe. It felt amazing, and it felt almost like God. Like God caught me. And he was very much aware of where I was in relation to him. He was watching me. He was seeking me. I wasn't seeking him. I wasn't chasing him. Oh, where are you? Help me. Like, I accepted that I was alone in that atmosphere, and I accepted the terror, but he showed up. Yes, like a white knight, like a white horse. And it was incredible being caught by him. So I just wanted to say that. And I think this really is the time to talk about this. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll post some more. I promised that I would post more dream videos. So yeah. I hope I did this justice. I feel like I didn't do it justice. I don't know. I hope I did it justice. I had never felt that kind of love before. Well, except in another dream. But nothing I felt on Earth. And I didn't know who this guy was, but I knew that I was meant to meet him, and he was meant to catch me.